There comes a point in life when holding on hurts more than letting go. You've tried. You've waited. You've fought. But maybe the battle isn't out there. It's inside you. And what if the moment you stop fighting is the moment you finally become free? Because letting go is not losing. It's how you rise. When you force yourself to keep walking, when you choose peace over attachment, when you dare to accept instead of trying to control, the world begins to rearrange itself around that courage. Letting go is not losing. It's a quiet kind of victory, the kind where you choose to keep yourself instead of clinging to something that has expired. At first, the emptiness feels real. The silence feels heavy. There are nights you stare at the ceiling, asking yourself if it's really worth letting go. Emotions crash like waves. Old memories resurface like scars being touched again. You're not weak for still hurting, you're simply healing. And healing has never been a straight line. Day by day, little by little, your heart learns how to beat again in silence. The loss begins to turn into space. Where there used to be pain, now there's room for something new to enter. Letting go doesn't make you smaller, it makes you wider, like a tree pruned to grow stronger branches. Every ending carries the shape of a beginning. When you let go, you're telling life, I trust its flow. I trust that what's coming is worthy of what I've lost. You don't have to pretend to be strong. You don't have to force yourself to forget. Sometimes it's enough to admit, I've done my best, and now I choose to let it go. That's not a surrender, it's a declaration of a soul that has grown. Because only when you stop holding on, your hands become free to receive something better. Letting go is an art, an act of wisdom and faith. The wisdom to know that not everything belongs to us, and the faith to trust that life will always find a way to restore what we've lost. This is the real victory. Standing tall amidst the ruins, smiling through the unfinished, finding meaning in loss and strength in pain. This is how destiny is shaped. Because maturity doesn't come from keeping everything, it comes from knowing what to keep and what to release. When you understand that, you're no longer the one who loses. You become the creator of your own fate. Letting go is not losing. It's choosing freedom. It's choosing peace over chaos. It's choosing yourself again and again. We're often taught that if we truly love, if we truly care, we should never let go. That persistence is proof of loyalty, and walking away is a sign of failure. But that's not entirely true. Some things hurt us more, the tighter we hold on. Some people pull us further away from ourselves, the longer we cling to them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means looking deeply into the truth, that what you're holding on to no longer aligns with the path you're on. We often confuse holding with attachment. Holding is the need to control, while attachment is a connection that can evolve with time. When something has finished teaching you the lesson it came to teach, releasing it isn't betrayal, it's respect. Respect for the journey, for yourself, and for the natural rhythm of life. A tree can't grow without shedding its leaves. The sea can't be calm without letting waves break. And the heart can't mature if it keeps holding on to what has already faded. Not every departure is a loss. Sometimes it's life clearing the path for something more aligned to enter. But we're afraid of emptiness, of loneliness, of the silence between two chapters of life. We fear that if we let go, there will be nothing left to hold. Yet it's within that emptiness that we begin to hear the voice of our soul, small, honest, whispering, "You've gone far enough down this road. It's time to return to yourself." Think back. Have you ever exhausted yourself trying to save a relationship, a job, or a dream that no longer reflected who you truly were? You told yourself, if I try a little harder, maybe it'll work. But the harder you tried, the more lost you felt. The truth is, what drains us isn't separation, it's resisting the natural flow of life. When you let go, you don't lose energy, you stop letting it be drained by what no longer belongs to you. Letting go is an act of courage, because to let go, you must face your deepest fears, the fear of emptiness, of meaninglessness, of losing direction. But it's also in that very moment that you discover your true strength. Strength isn't about how long you can hold on, it's about having the courage to walk away when it's time. Many believe that only the weak give up. But look closer. Isn't it the weak who cling and the strong who move on? I once met a man in his 50s who had just lost his job after 20 years. He told me, "I don't know who I am without this job." I told him that sometimes we define ourselves for so long by what we do that we forget who we are behind those roles. When he learned to let go not of responsibility, but of his old identity, he began to rediscover himself. A few months later, not only did he find a new job, he also wrote a book about the lessons he once called failures. He smiled and said, "Letting go brought me back to life." What truly hurts isn't the loss, it's our resistance to change. Every time we say, "I can't forget," what we really mean is, "I can't accept." But letting go doesn't ask you to forget, it asks you to stop fighting what has already passed. Because in that battle, you can't win. Time is undefeated. Yet time is also an ally if you learn to walk with it. Imagine a hand holding sand. The tighter it squeezes, the faster the sand slips away. That's the law of life. Hold too tightly, and you lose both the beauty and yourself. But when you open your hand, the sand falls to the ground, becomes part of the beach, becomes natural again, and so do you. Letting go is returning everything to where it belongs, so you can stand still, breathe, and continue living. People say, time heals everything. But it's not time, it's acceptance. Time only passes. Acceptance transforms. Every time you say, "I'm ready to let this go," you open space for life to enter. Maybe peace, maybe a truer connection, maybe a new version of yourself who no longer lives in fear but in freedom. Losing is when you stop in bitterness. Letting go is when you stop in peace. A loser tries to prove they're right. A wise soul chooses truth. And truth, no matter how painful, always sets you free. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means you finally stop fighting battles that were never yours to win. When you understand this, you begin to feel lighter. You no longer need to resist, to prove, or to run. You just need to breathe. Because in that breath, life begins again. And slowly, you realize nothing is ever truly lost. Everything is simply transforming, helping you become a stronger, wiser, and freer version of yourself. There's a truth most of us take half a lifetime to realize. Not everything you hold on to is meant to be kept. Life isn't just a journey of accumulation, it's also a journey of release. And the moment you learn to let go at the right time, that's when you've truly grown. Real strength doesn't come from holding tight. It comes from the courage to open your hands. Holding on may make you feel safe, but it also traps you in the past. Letting go may feel empty for a while, but it opens space for light to enter. Many believe control is protection from pain. But ironically, the more we try to control, the more we suffer. Because control is born of fear, letting go is born of faith. The ultimate truth is this: faith is stronger than fear. Faith that you'll be okay even when what you want is no longer there. Faith that life never takes without giving. Faith that every loss carries a message, an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and freer. Someone once asked me, "How do I know when it's time to let go?" I said, "When what you're holding on to starts making you lose yourself. If a relationship makes you pretend, if a job kills your joy, if a dream pulls you away from the present, that's when it's time to walk away. Not because you lack perseverance, but because you have enough awareness to know that strength isn't in endless effort. It's in recognizing when to stop. The world celebrates those who never give up, but rarely speaks of the wisdom in knowing when to let go. The brave aren't those who hold on to everything, they're the ones who dare to release when it's time. They know that some chapters must end for the next one to begin. They understand that letting go doesn't erase the value of the past, it honors it by acknowledging that the present is calling them forward. Letting go doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, it requires a special kind of strength, the strength of awareness. The weak hold on out of fear. The strong let go out of faith. The difference lies in consciousness. When you let go from a place of trust, you lose nothing. You simply expand freer, wider, more aligned with the flow of life. Think of a river. The water never clings to a rock, a branch, or a leaf. It flows gently, continuously, because it knows that movement is life. The strength of water lies not in holding, but in passing through everything. So it is with us. When you learn to let things flow through without letting them possess your mind, you become the current itself, no longer trapped in memories or fear, but flexible, alive, and unshakably strong. This truth sounds simple, but living it is a lifelong practice. You must learn to be silent when your mind wants to resist. Learn to smile when your heart wants to hold on. Learn to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Letting go isn't just an act of logic, it's an act of the soul. It demands deep connection with yourself and trust that you're being guided by something greater than you. One day, you'll look back and realize that every time you let go, you were coming home to yourself. You let go of a relationship and found peace. You let go of a dream and found one more true. You let go of an old definition of success and finally understood freedom. Every release expands your awareness. Every pause becomes a rebirth. The beauty of letting go isn't in what you lose, it's in what you regain: presence, clarity, and self-mastery. When you stop trying to control outcomes, you begin to live fully in the present. And the present, that's where true happiness exists. The past is memory, the future is imagination. Only this moment, the one you're breathing in now, is real. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care in a healthier way. You love without possession. You help without control. You give without expectation. That's mature love, love without fear, without attachment, without sacrificing freedom. When you understand and live this truth, you no longer fear loss. You begin to see life with new eyes. You see endings as natural parts of the cycle. You see separations as journeys of learning. And you realize that nothing is ever truly gone. Everything is transforming from one shape to another, from one version of you to the next, from pain to wisdom. Letting go is not an ending. It's a doorway to a new world where you're no longer defined by what was, but guided by what's becoming. And in that moment of release, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You become the creator of your own destiny. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is rising. It's remembering that your peace is worth more than your pride, your freedom more than your fear, and your growth more than every ending you've ever had to endure. I know sometimes you're so tired that you don't want to hear another piece of advice. They tell you to be strong, to let go, to move on. But they don't know that there are nights when you just want to lie still, not think, not feel. You don't need more pressure to be okay right now. You just need someone to tell you, you're not wrong for still hurting. Letting go has never been simple. It doesn't happen in a day, a week, or even a month. It's a process, an emotional journey that's sometimes beautiful, sometimes chaotic, but always, always real. You can miss, be angry, love, and want to forget all at once. And that's not weakness. That's being human. Emotions are not signs of failure. They are maps. Each one points to a part of your way back home. Anger shows where you were once hurt. Sadness shows where you once loved deeply. Fear shows where you've yet to trust yourself. Whenever you feel heavy, don't push it away. Sit with it, listen, and ask, what is this emotion trying to teach me? You're not lazy for not being able to move on right now. You're not weak for crying over the past. You're not a failure for still missing someone who's gone. You're healing, and healing is a quiet process, not loud, not linear, and without a schedule. It's like learning to walk again after falling. Every small, shaky step is still a step toward the light. Sometimes you think you're going backward, but really, you're just pausing to breathe. Like the ocean pulling back, not because it's weak, but because it's preparing for the next wave. Allow yourself those pauses. Allow yourself to feel sad. Sadness is just love that hasn't said goodbye yet. I used to think healing meant getting rid of pain, but over the years, I've learned we don't overcome pain by forgetting it. We overcome it by walking through it. There are no shortcuts. You can't skip the darkness to reach the dawn. You must walk through it, feel it, and let it wash away the fragile parts of you. Only then can you find true light. And through it all, the most important thing is this: don't judge yourself. When you feel like you haven't let go yet, don't say, "I failed." Say, "I'm learning." Because letting go isn't a destination. It's learning to live without clinging. Every day you trust yourself a little more, love yourself a little more, and forgive your past a little more. That's letting go. Look back at how far you've come. Every tear, every moment you thought you'd break, they're all proof that you lived with all your heart. No one can say you didn't try. You did your best with the awareness and love you had at the time. And now, you're simply learning to release, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to no longer need to hold on. If today you still remember, still ache, still feel regret, know that it's all part of the journey. Your emotions don't need to be right. They just need to be acknowledged. We can't heal what we refuse to feel. But once you allow yourself to feel fully, the pain begins to fade, not all at once, but layer by layer, breath by breath. Imagine your heart as a dusty room. Sadness isn't darkness taking over. It's light shining in, so you can see the dust. Every tear you shed is you cleaning it. Every deep breath is you opening a window. And one day, you'll see that room become brighter, wider, more peaceful, not because someone else came to clean it, but because you were brave enough to face it. If someone has hurt you, know that they were acting from their own fear. Letting go doesn't mean denying the pain. It means refusing to let it control you any longer. When you forgive, you're not saying, "It's okay." You're saying, "I don't want to carry this weight anymore." Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, not to them. And if you've been blaming yourself, "If only I'd done things differently, tried harder," let that go too. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it. Let those lessons become your light, not your chains. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's remembering without pain. It's looking back without tightening inside. It's speaking about it without tears. And when you reach that moment, you'll see letting go never takes anything from you. It only returns your peace. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove you're okay. Just be right here, in your healing. Sometimes all you need is to breathe and whisper, "I'm still here. I'm learning to trust again." So don't fear your emotions. They're not against you, they're guiding you home. And when you're light enough to walk alongside your pain without fearing it, that's when you've truly begun to let go. Letting go is not about forgetting what happened. It's about forgiving yourself for feeling it all. It's about realizing that even your pain was proof you cared deeply. And that, my friend, is nothing to be ashamed of. Letting go, on the surface, looks like an act of loss. But in truth, it's more like opening a window to let the wind flow through. No one sees the breeze, but you feel it in every lighter breath, every brighter corner of the room, every moment no longer suffocated by what has grown old. Life is like a garden. Each season, trees must shed their leaves to prepare for new life. If the leaves don't fall, the branches will never have room for new buds. Humans are the same. If you keep holding on to what has dried up, a relationship that's run its course, a dream that's worn out, emotions that have withered, you're preventing your soul from blooming. Letting go isn't about losing a season. It's about making space for the next one to flourish. Imagine holding a stone in your hand. You grip it tightly, thinking the firmer you hold, the safer you are. But after a while, your hand aches, your joints stiffen, your blood stops flowing. When you finally open your hand, the stone falls and you can breathe again. That's what letting go feels like. Not loss, but liberation. The stone was never yours. You just carried it for too long. I once knew a woman who kept an unsent letter in her heart, a letter to someone who once meant everything, but now existed only in memory. Every year, on his birthday, she would read it again, then tuck it away. One day, she decided to burn it. As the flames devoured each line, she cried. But they weren't tears of pain anymore. They were tears of release. She said, "I don't want to hold on to ashes. I want to make new soil for different seeds." That's what letting go is, like cleaning out your room. At first, it's hard to throw away old things, the keepsakes tied to memories, the photos that once made you smile. But as the room empties, you realize it's not empty, it's spacious. The room hasn't lost anything, it has reclaimed itself. And so do you. When you let go, you give yourself back the space to breathe, to live, to love, to begin again. Picture your mind as a still lake. When you cling to memories, you toss pebbles of worry into it. The surface ripples, and the reflection becomes distorted. But when you stop, when you no longer stir the past, the lake grows calm again. The reflection clears, and you see yourself, pure, serene, true. That's when you realize that peace never comes from adding more, but from releasing what no longer serves you. Letting go is also like untying a rope from around your neck. At first, you believe that rope protects you from the world, but over time, it tightens, making it hard to breathe. Only when you find the courage to loosen it do you realize how long you've been suffocating yourself. Freedom doesn't come from having more, it comes from daring to remove what's no longer right. You see, letting go doesn't always look like separation. Sometimes, it's a return, like a bird leaving the nest only to find its true sky. Letting go is the natural act of all things that mature. Even flowers know when to wither, so their seeds can fall, giving life to the next season. No one calls a flower a failure for fading. They simply see it as the most beautiful law of nature. Don't fear emptiness, it's where all beginnings are born. The sky looks empty, but that's why it can hold the Sunday. The soil looks bare after harvest, but that's why it can grow again. And your heart is the same when it's empty enough. It can hold the light once more. I know, sometimes you hold on not because you need it, but because you fear losing it. But the truth is, you can't lose what has been fully lived. What truly belongs to you never leaves. It only changes form. The person who once loved you may no longer be beside you, but that love taught you how to love. The dream that never came true taught you how to believe. Nothing is ever lost, only transformed. Seen through new eyes, letting go is an art of maturity. It teaches you impermanence, that everything has its season, its arrival, and its departure. And within every departure, a gift is hidden. You just need patience to see it. Think of yourself as a mountain. Everything comes and goes: wind, rain, snow, sunlight. Yet the mountain remains steady and still. Life doesn't ask you to hold on to everything. It simply invites you to stand firm in your essence, letting everything else pass naturally. When you let go, you don't lose anything. You simply return to your original state, grounded, whole, and free. Letting go is not losing, it's returning to stillness, to clarity, to the space where love doesn't cling but flows. Like a river that keeps moving, not to escape, but to stay alive. At some point in your journey of letting go, you realize this is no longer a story about losing someone or something. It's a story about you, about the person learning to live differently, think differently, and feel differently. Letting go stops being an act. It becomes an identity. You're not just letting go, you're becoming someone who can. It's that quiet turning point when your mind stops asking, "How do I forget?" and begins to ask, "Who am I becoming through this?" The answer doesn't come overnight. It comes in silence, in mornings when your heart feels a little lighter, in moments when you choose a smile over bitterness, in the times you take a step back to protect your peace instead of fighting to be right. You begin to understand that peace isn't something to chase, it's something you create by pausing. Just like strength isn't found in resisting your emotions, but in standing still within them. without being swept away. Letting go is no longer what you do, it's who you are. When you change your perspective, the world changes with you. You look back at the past, not through the eyes of pain, but through the lens of gratitude. You see that everyone who has crossed your path left behind a lesson. Those who hurt you taught you boundaries. Those who left taught you the value of presence. Those who stayed taught you patience. And when you understand that, you no longer hold people through fear, you hold them through freedom. Think about this. The old you feared losing things, the new you fears losing yourself. That's where true transformation begins, when you stop defining your worth by what you can hold and start defining it by what you can release. Strength isn't the ability to control everything, it's the ability to stay calm when everything changes. From there, you rebuild your relationship with yourself. You speak to yourself, not with criticism, but with compassion. It's okay. I'm learning. You no longer rush to overcome. You allow yourself to feel, to falter, to rest, and to rise again. That gentleness is what turns you into the person you once needed. You realize you don't need another person to make you whole, a result to prove your worth, or a perfect ending to justify your journey. You just need the truth. And the truth is you're still here, even after everything fell apart. That's your strength, the strength of someone who has fallen and still chooses to rise. From here, you live differently. When someone hurts you, you observe instead of reacting. When things don't go as planned, you ask, what is this trying to teach me? You no longer see life as a string of failures, but as a series of lessons leading you closer to yourself. That's true freedom. Freedom from old expectations, from inner judgment, from the need to prove anything to anyone. Remember, you weren't born to hold everything. You were born to experience, to learn, to grow, and to move forward. Everything in your life came not to stay forever, but to teach you something about love, trust, and self-mastery. And once you've learned the lesson, the only thing left to do is say thank you and move on. Then you'll see, the more you let go, the fuller you become. Not full because you have more, but because you carry less. You're no longer defined by the past, limited by fear, or bound by what you can't change. You begin to feel the quiet power within you, a strength that doesn't shout, doesn't need to prove, but simply exists. The person you used to be may have lived in fear. The person you're becoming lives in faith. Faith that no matter what comes or goes, you'll be okay. Faith that peace doesn't depend on control. Faith that loss doesn't destroy you, it refines you. Look back at your journey. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you've changed. Your inner voice is softer, your heart is steadier, your gaze is deeper. You no longer chase the light, you've become it. Because you've learned what few dare to learn. Letting go doesn't take your power away, it reveals it. Letting go is no longer what you do, it's who you are. You've become the person who trusts, who flows, who no longer fights every change. You've become the calm in your own storm. And from this calm, a new life begins, one built not from fear of loss, but from faith in growth. Letting go isn't a grand decision, it's a series of tiny, deliberate acts repeated quietly, day after day. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. You just need to choose one small thing, something simple, and start there. The first step might just be writing. Write down something you're still holding, maybe a person, a memory, or a feeling you haven't been able to release. No judgment, no justification. Just write, I acknowledge that this still lives in me. That act of honesty doesn't free you instantly, but it makes you a little lighter, because what's unspoken often weighs the heaviest. Then, try breathing with that emotion. It might sound strange, but breath is the bridge between mind and body. When you inhale, you receive the present. When you exhale, you allow the past to leave. Try this. Every morning, spend 2 minutes breathing deeply and silently, saying, I'm ready to let this go. You don't have to believe it right away. Just repeat it gently. Your body will remember, and with time, your mind will follow. Create a small ritual of release. It could be burning a piece of paper with what you want to let go. Taking an evening walk where each step symbolizes something you're leaving behind. Or simply sitting still with music, not trying to think, not trying to forget. Letting go doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be real. Sometimes, the smallest act is choosing not to react. When someone says something that hurts, instead of defending yourself, you stay quiet and breathe. That silence isn't weakness, it's power. Each time you choose not to react, you're teaching yourself to detach from the old. That's letting go in its most refined form. If you're letting go of someone, start by changing one small habit tied to them. If you check old photos every morning, today, just don't. Not to forget, but to affirm that you're learning to live without it. One day, then two, then a week. Each time, you're not just stepping away from the past, you're stepping closer to yourself. If you're letting go of fear, act opposite to it, but in small ways. Afraid of rejection? Send a message, a thank you, or an idea, no matter how small. Afraid of being hurt? Share one honest feeling with someone you trust. Afraid of failure? Do something you've avoided, even for 5 minutes. Nothing is too small if it breaks the paralysis of fear. The world doesn't change when you think differently. It changes when you act differently. Each small action is a brick, and with time, you build a new home inside your mind, one not haunted by what's gone, but grounded in peace. And if someday you slip back, it's okay. Letting go isn't a straight path, it's a spiral. You might revisit old emotions, but this time, you understand them better, respond differently, and leave sooner. That's progress. One of the most powerful small acts is forgiving yourself. Write this simple sentence: I forgive myself for holding on too long. No explanations, no excuses. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, it's about stopping the punishment. You can't walk into the future with your hands full of the past. Letting go isn't the end, it's changing how you move forward. Maybe you still think of them, still ache, still miss, that's fine. But instead of letting that feeling hold you back, let it remind you that you once loved deeply. And because you once loved deeply, you can love again this time, without fear. The world inside you changes not by leaps, but by steady steps. Remember, one small step in the right direction each day takes you farther than waiting for the perfect feeling. You don't need to be ready, you just need to begin. Tonight, try something simple. Before you sleep, place your hand over your heart and say, I let everything flow away. I keep the lesson. Repeat it daily. It becomes your mantra of freedom. It's not magic, but it's a seed, and each time you say it, you water it. One day, it will bloom into the peace you once thought impossible. Letting go is a practice, not a moment, and every small act, a breath, a pause, a choice not to hold is a step closer to peace. The weight leaves you piece by piece, not all at once. But one day, you'll look up and realize you no longer carry what once broke you. You carry wisdom instead. There's something fascinating about human nature. Even when we know something is good for us, we still resist it. We know letting go will make the mind lighter, yet we fear doing it, because resistance is the mind's natural reflex to change. It isn't evil, it just fears losing what's familiar, even if that familiarity hurts. Have you noticed how, right when you're about to let go of a relationship that's over, or leave a job that no longer fulfills you, your mind whispers, but what if I'm wrong? What if I regret it? What if nothing better comes? That isn't truth speaking, that's fear. Fear always dresses itself as logic, sounding like a guardian, when in truth, it's a warden. Understand this: resistance isn't your enemy. It's a sign that you're getting close to something meaningful. If you feel afraid, unsettled, or conflicted, it means you're standing at the threshold of change. And every threshold demands that you leave an old version of yourself behind. You don't need to fight resistance. You just need to look at it and name it. Each time your mind says, I can't let go. Respond gently, I'm just scared. When you name fear, you strip it of its power. It's no longer a shadow over you, it becomes a feeling you can see, and everything that's seen begins to dissolve. Resistance wears many faces: procrastination, excuses, overthinking, or that familiar, I'll do it when I'm ready. But you'll never feel fully ready. Because resistance doesn't disappear before you act, it fades while you act. Every step you take weakens its grip. Try something small. When your mind starts debating, don't argue back. Take a deep breath and say, I hear you, but I'm moving forward anyway. That's all. No forcing, no fighting. Just one more step, however small. True strength doesn't come from being fearless, but from walking forward despite fear. I remember a friend once said, I know I need to leave this relationship, but every time I think about it, my heart aches. I'm scared of the emptiness after. I told her, that emptiness isn't your enemy. It's space for something new to grow. She was silent for a long moment before saying, I never thought fear could turn into space for me to breathe. That's the truth. Resistance is simply space not yet filled with new faith. Once you start believing you deserve something lighter, resistance starts to melt. Watch how it behaves. It will tell you it's not the right time, remind you of past failures, replay old scripts of fear. Each time you hear that voice, ask yourself, what am I protecting myself from, and what's the cost? The answer will be clearer than you expect. Sometimes, resistance disguises itself as guilt. You think letting go means betrayal of someone, of memories, or of your past self. But no, letting go doesn't deny what was. It honors it by acknowledging that the lesson is complete. You don't owe anyone your continued suffering as proof of loyalty. The greatest loyalty is the one you owe to yourself. When resistance rises, return to your body. Place a hand over your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Say softly, I'm safe, I'm changing, and that's okay. In that brief moment, you send a message to your mind. There's nothing to fear. Because resistance is only a signal of uncertainty, and when the body feels safe, the mind calms. Remember, resistance doesn't vanish forever. It returns every time you're about to rise to a new level of yourself. But each time it comes back, you meet it differently. The first time, you fear it. The second time, you understand it. The third time, you smile because you know it's just the old you trying to hold on while the new you is being born. One helpful way to face resistance is to write to it. Say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I no longer need that protection. I choose freedom. When you write that, you stop treating resistance as an enemy. You turn it into an ally, a reminder that you're growing. And remember, you can't let go while hating your own fear. You can only let go when you accept that fear as part of the process. Accept that resistance is natural and overcoming it is the lesson of maturity. Ask yourself, if I weren't afraid, what would I do right now? Then do it. Even for a few minutes. Every small act dissolves one more layer of resistance. One day, you'll look back and realize, the things that once terrified you are now just stories from an old chapter. Resistance will always whisper, don't go too far. And you'll smile and answer, I'm not going far. I'm just going home. Home to truth, to trust, to the person you were always meant to be. Letting go isn't about fighting resistance. It's about walking through it with gentleness. Because resistance isn't your wall, it's your doorway. And every time you walk through it, you become lighter, freer, and more alive. The hardest part isn't letting go, it's staying in the state of letting go. Because we tend to circle back, to repeat, to unconsciously recreate the very things that once hurt us. Letting go once isn't enough. You need a system, a way of living that reminds you daily that peace doesn't come from holding on, but from knowing how to release. A system doesn't mean rigid rules. It's a rhythm, a chain of habits, rituals, and environments you consciously design to keep your heart uncluttered. A good system makes letting go a natural reflex, not a constant effort like breathing, like being alive. Start with a nightly ritual of release. Before bed, spend 5 minutes writing down 3 things you want to leave behind from the day. A harsh word, a mistake, a heavy thought. Write them down, then whisper, "I let this go. I keep the lesson." It's simple but freeing. Keep it for 30 days, and you'll feel your mind lighter, your sleep deeper, your mornings clearer. Then, redesign your physical space to reflect that freedom. Decluttering isn't just physical, it's spiritual. When you discard what no longer serves you, you're telling your subconscious, "I'm ready for new things." Start small. A drawer, a shelf, a desk. Every object released is energy reclaimed. A clear space creates a clear mind, and peace becomes your natural state. Another piece of the system lies in how you handle emotion. When negative feelings arise, don't suppress them. Create a bridge journal. Walk, breathe deeply, or listen to music. You're training your body and mind to respond with acceptance instead of resistance. Repetition builds mastery, and soon, emotions no longer control you, you lead them. Begin your mornings as a mental reset. Before checking your phone, sit for 2 minutes and ask, "What do I want to carry today, and what do I want to leave behind?" That single question sets your tone, your energy, your direction. Letting go also needs a social system. Reassess the people around you. Some drain your energy, others nourish it. Observe, then adjust. You don't owe everyone continued access. You can love without attachment, care without carrying. Surround yourself with people who help you grow, not those who keep you small. If you thrive on structure, schedule a weekly mind check. Maybe every Sunday night, reflect. What did I release this week? What am I still holding? Not to judge, but to become aware. Awareness is already half of change. Emotional discipline is also part of the system. Often, we return not because we miss, but because we lack discipline. Each time you want to reach out to the past, pause. Ask, am I acting from longing or from habit? Conscious action is the golden key to freedom, not suppression, but clarity. Another deep element is replacement. When you let something go, fill that space with something nurturing. Release a toxic habit, replace it with one that heals. End an old relationship, spend time with nature, friends, or learning something new. The universe hates a vacuum if you don't fill the space with light. The past will fill it with fear. And above all, build gratitude into your system. Each morning, write down one thing you're grateful for, even if it once caused pain. Gratitude is the highest form of letting go, because when you thank what hurt you, it can no longer harm you. When you live this way, letting go stops being a task, it becomes who you are. Like your lungs know how to breathe, your heart learns how to release. Each day, you grow lighter, calmer, steadier in the face of change. A good system doesn't erase emotion, it transforms it. It doesn't force you to forget, it helps you remember with peace. Through repetition, writing, breathing, thanking, observing, choosing again, you build the foundation of inner peace. Letting go doesn't happen once. It happens every day, through small systems of awareness, gratitude, and trust. Build your system, and it will carry you even on the days you forget how to carry yourself. You can let go in your mind, but if your surroundings still hold on to the past, peace will struggle to stay. Your living space, your daily habits, the people you interact with, all are psychological triggers that directly shape your ability to release. You can't truly heal in a room filled with memories of what's gone, or find calm among people who constantly pull you back to what was. If you want to live lightly, create an environment where lightness can exist. If you want to let go, make your world a safe place to do so. Start with your physical space. Look around your room, your desk, your photos, your belongings. Everything carries energy. Some things make you smile. Others weigh on your heart. Each time you touch something that hurts to hold, ask yourself, does this serve my present, or does it keep me in the past? If the answer is the past, it's time to let it go. Not because you reject your memories, but because you choose to honor yourself more. Clean your space not to make it empty, but to make room for what's new. A tidier corner clears your mind. An organized desk brings clarity. Every act of tidying sends a signal to your subconscious. I'm ready for something new. Cleaning isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Then, invite in light and nature. Open the curtains. Place a small plant on your desk. Light and greenery heal in ways science has confirmed. They calm emotions, ease stress, and remind you that life continues. Each time you water that plant, you're reminding yourself that everything, including you, needs time to grow. Once your physical space feels lighter, move to your digital one, the invisible environment you carry in your phone, laptop, and social media. Remove old photos, messages, and virtual memories that keep you anchored in what's gone. Every saved conversation without meaning becomes invisible clutter in your mind. Let your digital space be as clean as your room. Each time you delete something, you're telling yourself, I don't need to look back to prove I existed. Next, examine the soundscape around you, the music, podcasts, movies, and voices you consume daily. All of them shape your emotional state. If you're in the process of letting go, don't feed your sadness with old songs. Choose sounds that nourish: soft music, the wind, flowing water, healing words. The outer world can mirror your inner one if you choose wisely. Be mindful of the people in your environment. Some make you feel seen and safe, others make you shrink. Not everyone who began the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. Sometimes letting go means walking away from those no longer on your frequency, not out of hate, but respect. Surround yourself with those who speak encouragement, who listen deeply, who believe in your healing. Energy is contagious. Choose to catch peace, not anxiety. An essential part of building a healing environment is creating space for silence. It might be the early morning before the world wakes, or the few minutes before bed when you turn off the lights. In silence, you hear the voice beneath the noise, not the voice of fear, but of wisdom. Learn to sit with that silence, and you'll realize you don't need much to feel enough. Sometimes, your environment is also made of symbols, a painting, a quote, a journal of gratitude. These are anchors of meaning, small reminders that your journey matters. Every time you see the words, letting go is not losing, remember, it's not just a phrase, it's a promise you made to yourself to live free, unattached, unresentful. Movement is another environment you can design. Your body is part of your space. When the body is stuck, the mind is stuck. Let movement become your ritual of release. Walk, stretch, dance, breathe. Each time you move, old energy moves out. You'll notice emotions aren't trapped in your mind, they live in your body, and movement sets them free. Redesign your schedule to create breathing room for your mind. People often mistake busyness for purpose. A crowded calendar might make you feel productive, but it suffocates your soul. Leave at least one window of time each day that belongs to no one, just you. In that space, letting go happens naturally. And remember, your environment isn't fixed. It's something you can reshape anytime. When you start feeling heavy again, look around. Maybe your desk is cluttered, your music too loud, or your company no longer aligned. Letting go isn't a single act. It's continuous adjustment of space, habits, and energy to keep yourself in balance. When you live in an environment built for peace, you no longer have to remind yourself to let go. Everything around you does it for you. The air feels lighter, the sounds softer, and your heart quieter, as if it has finally found where it belongs. Letting go isn't just something you think. It's something you live. Build a space that whispers peace, not pain. Let your home, your routine, and your silence remind you every day you are free. Very few people are willing to face this truth. You cannot truly let go if you are still blaming. As long as you believe someone made you hurt, that circumstances made you lose, or that fate made you fail, you're still giving your power away to things outside yourself. Letting go cannot happen while you still think others are responsible for your happiness. Letting go, at its core, is an act of total responsibility. It's not, I forget what they did to me, but I refuse to let what they did continue to control me. Responsibility here isn't about guilt, it's about power. When you say, I am responsible, you take back command. You're no longer the victim of an old story, you're the author of the next chapter. Many fear responsibility because they confuse it with self-blame, but there's a world of difference between the two. Blame shrinks you and fills you with shame. Responsibility expands you and fills you with strength. Blame keeps you stuck in the past. Responsibility brings you back to the present. Once you understand this, you begin to see clearly. No one times makes times you hurt. They only touch the parts of you that still need healing. They trigger the wounds you still carry, and that, while painful, is the opportunity to see yourself more deeply. When you realize that, you stop saying, they hurt me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? That single shift separates the victim from the evolved. Taking responsibility doesn't mean condoning wrong behavior. It means not letting it define you. You stop telling the story of what they did to me and start telling the story of who I became after it. How you retell the story determines how you live the rest of your life. Remember, every time you say, I can't because of them, you hand them control of your future. But when you say, I can, even though they did, you reclaim it. And in that moment, true letting go begins. Full responsibility also means choosing response over reaction. You can't control others, but you can always control how you respond. When someone leaves, you can't make them stay, but you can choose how you keep loving. When life doesn't go your way, you can't rewrite the outcome, but you can rewrite the meaning. All your power lives in that choice. The person who truly lets go understands, I'm not responsible for what happens to me, but I am responsible for how I respond. That is ultimate freedom. I once spoke to a man who lost everything in a year, his job, his marriage, his faith. He said, I feel like life betrayed me. I told him, maybe life didn't betray you. Maybe it's just returning to you what you gave away for too long, your own control. A year later, he'd started his own business, no longer needing others to define his worth. He told me, when I stopped blaming everything around me, I saw doors that had never been locked. Responsibility also means forgiving yourself. No one is perfect. You made the best choices you could with what you knew at the time. Regret only keeps you frozen. Real responsibility is reflecting, learning, and moving forward. You can't walk toward the future while still pointing fingers at yourself. See mistakes as data, not as sentences, information that teaches you how you love, how you react, how you can grow. When you take responsibility for the present, you begin to live differently. You stop saying, I'll be happy when, and start saying, I'm happy because I choose to see differently. You stop waiting for an apology to feel at peace. You give yourself that peace. You stop waiting for circumstances to change before you feel free. You create freedom right where you are. Letting go, in its deepest sense, is the declaration of a mature soul. I am responsible for my mind, my emotions, and my actions. No one can take your peace unless you hand it over. No one can make you suffer unless you allow it. Once you understand that, you stop trying to control others because you realize the real power was never theirs. It was always yours. A practical way to practice this: each time something upsets you, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me about me? The first question traps you. The second frees you. That awareness is the essence of letting go. Full responsibility also teaches humility. It reminds you that you can't control everything, but you can always master yourself. True power doesn't come from changing the world. It comes from changing the way you see it. And when your perception changes, the world follows. From the moment you take full responsibility for your life, you no longer need times to let go, Because there's nothing to release, only choices to make. You choose peace, you choose learning, you choose freedom. And from that point on, nothing is a loss, everything is transformation. Letting go isn't about blaming less, it's about owning more. More peace, more power, more choice. When you take full responsibility, nothing owns you anymore. Not the past, not the pain, not the people. You do. And that is where freedom begins. No one wants to fail. But the truth is, without failure, we would never learn how to let go. It's in our moments of falling that we discover what's truly worth holding on to and what must be released. Failure isn't the end. It's the test that reveals whether we have the courage to learn, to change, and to continue. Every fall carries a hidden gift, even if you can't see it yet. Failure is like a seed buried deep underground in darkness, in solitude, seemingly lost. But that darkness is what allows it to sprout. You can't see the light immediately, but inside, life is shifting. Your life works the same way. When something collapses, you have two choices. See it as proof that you're broken, or as a lesson life gave you to strengthen you. The difference between the defeated and the evolved lies in what they choose to believe. The defeated say, "I lost." The evolved say, "I learned." You can look back at a broken relationship and say, "I chose wrong." Or you can say, "I learned how to love more clearly." You can look at a failed project and say, "I wasted time." Or you can say, "I learned what not to repeat." Same event, two outcomes. One keeps you in pain, the other moves you toward growth. Failure is the fire that tests gold. It burns away what's false and leaves behind what's real. When things fall apart, you see who truly stands with you, what truly matters, and which part of you needs rebirth. Don't fear the fire. Fear only makes you burn in panic. Courage lets you burn into purity. When you start seeing failure not as an enemy, but as part of the process, you'll realize there's no real failure, only feedback. Each time you try and it doesn't work, life is whispering, "Not this way, try another." The problem is, most people stop halfway and call it failure instead of walking further and calling it wisdom. Great people don't succeed because they've never failed. They succeed because they never stop at failure. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Every failure brought him one step closer to the right way. Letting go works the same. Every time you release what isn't right, you move closer to what is. Someone once asked, "How can I let go of failure when it hurts so much?" The answer: you don't need to let go of the failure, only the old meaning you gave it. Rewrite the story. Instead of "I lost," say "I learned." Instead of "I'm not good enough," say "I'm getting better." Change your language, and your emotions follow. Change your emotions, and your life follows. Failure is a silent teacher. It teaches what success never can: humility, patience, resilience. It shows you your limits, then helps you break them. Nothing builds your strength like facing failure and walking through it. I once met a woman who had gone bankrupt twice. She told me that the first time, she cried every night, blaming life, people, and herself. The second time, she laughed. I asked why. She said, "Because this time, I know I'll learn faster." That answer silenced me. She no longer defined herself by the outcome, but by her ability to grow. And that's when failure lost its power. Letting go of failure doesn't mean forgetting it. It means looking back without judgment, saying, "I did my best with who I was then. Now I know better, and I'll do better." Forgiving yourself is the final step of every lesson. When you do that, failure becomes fuel. One powerful way to transform failure is to rewrite the story. Write it in the voice of a victor, not a victim. Write, "Because of that moment, I understand myself more. Because of that loss, I know what truly matters. Because of that pain, I've grown deeper. Every line you rewrite is a thread you cut between you and the past. If you look closely at your life, you'll realize everything you have now was born from something you once called failure. Every rejection taught you self-worth. Every loss taught you appreciation. Every collapse taught you strength. There are no real failures, only evolution. Letting go of failure means releasing the need to be perfect. You don't have to get it right the first time. Life doesn't demand perfection, only honesty. Honesty with your effort, your mistakes, and your growth. When you live honestly, failure stops being scary, because you know you'll always rise again. Remember, diamonds form under pressure. Trees grow stronger after storms, and people become deeper after they break. If you're standing in the darkness of failure, don't be afraid. The darkness isn't the end, it's the environment of transformation. Letting go isn't about forgetting your failures. It's about thanking them. Because every fall taught you to rise differently. Every loss taught you to see clearer. And every time you thought it was over, it was just your strength being born. People often think letting go is a single moment a day. You wake up and suddenly all the pain is gone. But life doesn't work that way. Letting go isn't a leap. It's a journey. It isn't a result, it's a process. And you can't truly love peace until you learn to love the process that leads to it. We're often impatient to feel better right away. After heartbreak, we want to forget. After failure, we want to rise. After pain, we want to heal. But life doesn't move at the speed of desire. It moves at the pace of nature. Wounds need time to close. Seeds need seasons to sprout. And souls need patience to learn. The journey of letting go is like climbing a mountain. Some days you feel strong and see the summit. Some days you're exhausted, sitting down, convinced you can't go on. But even slowly, each step takes you higher. And when you stop to rest, it isn't failure, it's breathing. Rest is part of the process, not a pause from it. Look closely at yourself. You've been moving forward, even if just a little each day. Maybe yesterday you thought about the past for hours, today only for minutes. Maybe yesterday you were angry. Today, you're just sad. That's progress. And that progress deserves love, even if it's slow, even if it's imperfect. When you learn to love the process, you stop blaming yourself for not being over it. You begin to see each phase with gratitude. This is when I'm learning patience. This is when I'm learning to understand myself. This is when I'm learning to forgive. Every emotion, even pain, carries a lesson. And once you learn it, the pain begins to fade. Loving the process means stopping comparison. No two journeys of release look the same. Some people heal in months, others in years. Some need to talk. Some need silence. Some heal by writing, some by running, some by praying, some by crying. Every way is right, as long as it's true for you. You don't need to be okay by anyone's standard but your own. You just need to be honest with what you feel today. If you still hurt, let yourself hurt. If you feel okay, be grateful. Every day, no matter how small, is a step forward. Healing doesn't happen in silence. It happens in the small moments you choose to continue. Remember, you can't force your heart to heal faster than its own rhythm. Just like you can't make the sun rise early, you can only be present through each phase. When you stay with it, not running, not resisting, something miraculous happens. The pain loses its grip. It becomes just a passing rain. I once met a woman who lost her husband and lived in grief for 2 years. People told her to move on, but she said, "I am moving just slowly. I'm learning to love my sadness." In the 3rd year, she began journaling. In the 4th, she began teaching others how to move through loss. She didn't try to forget, she transformed. That's what happens when you honor the process. When you love the process, you realize every phase has purpose. Confusion teaches humility. Exhaustion teaches rest. Loneliness teaches self-connection. Everything that happens isn't meant to hurt you, it's meant to shape you. Life isn't leading you astray, it's leading you deeper into yourself. One way to practice loving the process is to write down 3 things you're grateful for at the end of each day, not for what went right, but for what you learned. Maybe it's, I learned to accept my feelings. Maybe it's, I learned not to react too quickly. Writing helps you see your growth, no matter how small, and slowly you stop feeling stuck, you start feeling in motion. Let this journey stop being a battle to forget and become a return to understanding. When you love the process, you stop waiting for the day you'll be fine. You start living fine, day by day. You realize peace isn't the destination, it's how you walk. Loving the process also means forgiving yourself for being weak, because in that weakness, you were real. And only when you're real can you truly change. Don't hate the days you broke, they taught you how to rise. Don't erase the tears, they're proof that you loved and lived deeply. If someday you feel like you've gone back to the start, don't be discouraged. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral upward. Each return brings you to a higher level with more clarity, more wisdom. You're not repeating, you're refining. And then one day, you'll realize you're not trying to let go anymore, you're simply living. You smile at what once hurt. You feel gratitude, not bitterness. That's when you understand. Letting go was never a single act. It's a rhythm, inhale to receive, exhale to release. And when you learn to love every breath of that rhythm, you are truly free. Letting go is not about rushing the healing, it's about walking with it. Because the moment you fall in love with the process, you stop fearing the distance and start enjoying the becoming. Every transformation reaches a point where you want to stop. Not because you're weak, but because you're tired. Tired of trying for so long, tired of not seeing results, tired because memories resurface, tired because fear whispers that all this effort might be for nothing. That moment is your trial by fire, not to test your strength, but to remind you, letting go doesn't only take courage to start, it takes courage to continue. The instinct to quit is built into human survival. When the mind meets resistance, it looks for a way back to what's familiar. Even if that familiar place once hurt you, it feels safe because you know how to survive there. The new place doesn't. It's empty, uncertain, and demands faith in what you cannot yet see. That's why so many return to what broke them, not from lack of wisdom, but from lack of endurance in faith. Endurance doesn't come from motivation, it comes from the discipline of the heart. It's doing what's right even when you no longer feel like it. Like exercise, you don't always want times to run, but you still go because your body needs it. Letting go is the same. There will be days you don't want to continue, but you still sit down, breathe deeply, write in your journal, or simply resist sending that message. Every time you do, you strengthen the muscle that says, I don't quit, One of the biggest mistakes is thinking that being tired means you've failed. No, being tired just means you're moving. Muscles ache before they grow. Minds resist before they rest. Every time you want to stop, remember, this isn't the end, it's the test of your becoming. Create a reason stronger than your passing emotions. Write down why you started this journey: because you want freedom, because you want to love yourself correctly, because you want peace. When negative emotions come, read that reason again. A strong why will carry you through weak days. A powerful strategy is to set small daily commitments. Don't say, I'll let go forever. Say, today, I'll keep living without going back. Just today. Then repeat. One day becomes a week becomes a month. Strength isn't built from grand declarations, but from quiet consistency. Learn to talk to your exhaustion. When your mind says, I can't anymore, answer, I don't need to go far, I just need not to go back. The distance between I can't and I'm still here, that's where strength is born. You also need a support system, a friend who understands, a community that shares your path, a routine that brings you back to center. No one stays strong alone. Even the resilient need rest and reminders. Find someone or something that reflects back your strongest self when you forget who you are. Remember this, your emotions may want you to stop, but your soul wants you to go on. Don't let temporary feelings fool you into abandoning a permanent transformation. Emotions are waves, they rise, crash, and fade. If you can stand through the wave, you'll see the surface smooth again. Each time you do, you strengthen the reflex that says, I don't give up. I once met a man who had overcome a decade of alcoholism. He said, not a single day was easy, but every time I resisted a craving, I knew I was stronger than yesterday. That's the no-quit reflex. It doesn't require perfection, just persistence. Build anchors for your weak days. Write a sentence you believe in and place it where you'll see it often. Maybe it's, I'm progressing, even slowly. I choose peace. I won't return to what broke me. Every time you read it, you refuel your spirit. And when you slip, because you will, don't punish yourself. The no-quit reflex doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise faster. You don't drown in guilt. You learn and move. Each time you rise, you teach your mind. Falling is not the same as stopping. There will be nights you think you can't take it anymore. Let yourself cry. But when morning comes, get up, wash your face, and keep going. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to refuse surrender. Real strength doesn't live in the days you soar, it lives in the days you tremble, but still take a step. A vital part of persistence is self-encouragement. No one knows how far you've come better than you. Tell yourself, I'm proud I'm still here. When you say that, you activate self-trust, and that trust is the energy that holds you when nothing else can. Remember, the journey of letting go has no finish line, only direction. Every day you don't go back, you've won. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you've won. Every time you stay silent instead of explaining, you've won. There are no small victories when you're walking against your old patterns. Letting go doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. Don't measure how far you've come, measure how many times you refuse to quit. Because every time you stand again, the old version of you dies a little more, and the new one lives stronger. Letting go is never easy. It's the ultimate test of faith, courage, and maturity. But when you finally reach the end of this journey, you realize that what you thought you lost was only the illusion of holding on, and what you truly gained was yourself. You are no longer who you were, the one who held tight out of fear, who resisted out of pain, who clung because of emptiness. Now you understand that emptiness isn't absence. It's space, space to breathe, to love, to receive what's next. You've walked through fear, resistance, failure, and exhaustion not to prove anything, but to meet the truest version of who you are. You've learned that peace doesn't come from control, but from trust. Trust that even as everything changes, you remain enough. You've learned that forgiveness isn't forgetting, but refusing to let the past rule the present. And you've learned that freedom isn't the absence of loss, but the ability to smile when loss arrives. This journey hasn't made you colder, it's made you deeper. It hasn't made you numb, it's made you wise. It hasn't made you weaker, it's made you soft in the strongest way possible, like water. Water doesn't resist, yet it moves through everything. It doesn't cling, yet it sustains life itself. From now on, you no longer have to let go because you've become the one who knows how to let things flow. You no longer need to search for peace because peace lives in your breath, in your voice, in the way you see life. Letting go is not losing. It's awakening. It's remembering that nothing you've ever loved is truly gone, it's just transformed. And so have you. You've come a long way. Maybe you started this video with pain, with questions, or with a heart still holding on. But if you're still here, listening, that means something inside you has already started to let go. Remember this, letting go is not losing. It's learning to trust life again. It's choosing peace over chaos. It's the moment you stop trying to control and start allowing yourself to grow. Every ending you've faced was never a loss. It was guidance. Every goodbye was an invitation to rise higher. And every time you let go, you didn't break, you evolved. If this message touched your heart, take a deep breath and remember, the most powerful way to change your life is to start from within. Thank you for watching. If this story spoke to your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, not just for me, but for the next person who needs to hear that letting go is not losing.